By the time Edward the Confessor took the throne, Godwin of Wessex had already served 4 kings. He wasn't royal and had no ancient lineage, but for nearly 30 years he was the most powerful man in England who didn't wear the crown. When Canute ruled, Godwin rose with him. He may have been chosen for his reliability, military ability, and political savviness. Canute named him the Earl of Wessex, the wealthiest earldom in the country, and he quickly turned it into a personal stronghold. Through land, marriages, and alliances, Godwin wove himself into the fabric of the kingdom. And when the Danish dynasty began to collapse, first Harald Harefoot, then Harthacnut, Godwin didn't fall with them. He shifted allegiances, and in doing so, he kept his earldom. But it took some real maneuvering. When Edward the Confessor returned from exile and formally took the crown in 1042, many expected Godwin to be pushed aside. Instead, Edward married Godwin's daughter, Edith, a clear signal that he realized peace with Godwin was necessary for stability. It wasn't real peace. The two men mistrusted each other. Edward, raised in Normandy, leaned on foreign advisors. Godwin, deeply English and immensely popular, opposed that Norman influence. The court split and tensions rose, and in 1051 they boiled over. After one diplomatic incident involving the killing of a visiting Norman nobleman that took place in Godwin's earldom, King Edward ordered Godwin to punish his own townspeople. Godwin refused, and he was exiled by Edward as punishment. Godwin fled with his sons, and his family was stripped of power. For a moment, it seemed like Edward had finally broken the old Earl's grip on the kingdom. But the next year, Godwin returned with an army. And the people, perhaps strengthened by memories of his earlier defiance of Edward in their defense, backed him. Many of the nobles backed him too, and Edward, being pious and conflict-averse as he was, quickly backed down. Godwin was restored, and from that point on, he was untouchable. Godwin no longer needed to challenge Edward directly after that. He virtually controlled the land and the royal household. His sons were given earldoms across the country, and his daughter remained queen. His position was so secure that by the time of his death in 1053, many expected that a Godwin would be the next to wear the crown. Godwin's story shows that you didn't have to be king to wield influence. In an era where kings were toppling every few years, he lived on through the reigns of Canute, Harald Harefoot, Harthacnut, and Edward. And his nearly 30 years of political influence were one of the few constants during this period, in a sense offering more stability than the throne itself could provide in its current weakness. This will become an important theme in future volumes. We often think of kings as symbolic of absolute power, but the king's power only goes as far as his subjects permit. Power struggles between influential nobles and the king would typify English politics for centuries to come. And that's why we conclude Volume 2 not with Edward the Confessor, but with Godwin, the man who actually held the political cards in the mid-11th century. When Godwin died, his son Harold stood ready to finally claim the crown for himself. The only problem? So did several others. The Norman invasion was coming.